And we continue to follow that breaking news that just came down from the Adams County Courthouse.
There is a verdict in the case against 2 paramedics. That case and verdict, criminally negligent homicide, guilty against both paramedics, and some other guilty and not guilty verdicts involved in this. The family spokesperson for Elijah McClain's family is speaking right now, so let's listen in.
Arrest, conviction, and sentencing. Thankfully, in this case, the algorithm continues, but we do not know justice until we see sentencing. So, Judge Warner, you now have a responsibility. We are still seeking justice. And as this truth was told to the people, you have a part of this story that now you have to finish. Will there be justice? Elijah is gone, but he is never forgotten. He has left a legacy for me, for you, for everyone. And for those that are not able to see that an injustice was done, my heart hurts for you because an injustice was done. And if you are disrupted by the justice that has been now, by the result of this trial, if you are disrupted by that, I will just say that I love you more than you hate yourself. Because a loss of life in this way should disrupt all of us. And as adamant as Shanine McClain is for justice for her son, you should share in that sentiment with her. You are invited to share in that sentiment with her. His name was and always will be Elijah McClain. We love you, Elijah McClain.
Ma'am, there were many supporters of the defendants outside the courtroom as you guys walked out. You held your fists up high.
That is reaction from spokesperson for the family of Elijah McClain. 2 guilty verdicts of criminally negligent homicide against 2 paramedics involved in the death of Elijah McClain late this afternoon. Rather stunning verdict, and we are just learning more about it now.
We are, yes, and Michael Abeyta has been out there for us all day. He's outside the courthouse, and Michael, just some powerful statements there.
Yeah, you know, Michaelia, it was an emotional scene in the courtroom as those verdicts were read. Paramedics Jacuniak and Cooper sat stoic and stone-faced, but every once in a while, a little bit of emotion would creep through as those verdicts were read. Of course, their families very emotional as the verdicts, those guilty verdicts in criminally negligent homicide were read. And then Peter Jacuniak, he was also convicted of assault in the 2nd degree, unlawful administration of drugs. Now, that means that he was remanded to the deputy's custody. He was taken away in handcuffs. And when that happened, there was an audible cry from the defendant's side of the courtroom. Very emotional scene there. As for Shanine McClain, she sat in court the whole time, very emotional. Her spokespersons and her friends and families' arms around her. And at the end of the verdicts, she lifted her glasses and wiped away tears. Now, as you heard, those 2 paramedics both found guilty of criminally negligent homicide, but Peter Jacuniak also found guilty of assault in the 2nd degree, unlawful administration of drugs. Jeremy Cooper, he was out tonight on bond still, but because of that second charge that Peter Jacuniak was found guilty of, he was remanded to the custody of deputies and taken away in handcuffs. In Adams County, Michael Abeyta, covering Colorado First.
And Michael, just a question for you too. We understand the jury was deadlocked. What happened after that?
Well, you know, Michaelia, we may never know. The jury deliberations are very secretive for a reason. The only way we would know is if a jury member decided to talk to the media. So far, they are still in the courthouse finishing up some of their duties. Only time will tell whether we find out more information about that.
It was interesting. Michael Abeyta, thank you very much. You know, the jury came in this afternoon, said they were deadlocked, told the judge that they simply couldn't reach a verdict. Judge sent them back, and about 90 minutes later, we got this verdict. And the verdict, again, as Michael was just telling us, 2 paramedics guilty of criminally negligent homicide in this case.
We'll check back in with Michael, I'm sure.